Welcome to Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Hello and welcome to Arsenal Kids Podcast. My name is Maddie and I'm joined by my co-host Ben. It's great to have you join us for this episode.
Yes, hello listeners. Hello, Maddie. Welcome to episode 174. It is great to have you join us. And Maddie, after a midweek break for both the men's team and the women's team, they were back in football action on the weekend.
We're abundant of our teams securing good wins.
They did, with the men's team defeating Leicester City away from home for a 2-0 victory, and then the women's team thumping our North London rivals Tottenham in a 5-0 Derby Day rout, ensuring that
North London is red.
It absolutely is. But before we get to looking at these games and our team's performances in more details, we would love for you to share our podcast with others. No matter where you listen, you should be able to find a share button. It would be great for you to be able to hit that and help us to grow our Arsenal Kids community.
We would love for you to join us on this adventure together!
We would indeed, and Madi with Gabriel Jesus out with a long-term knee injury. Bukayo Saka still on his way back from a serious hamstring injury. Gabriel Martinelli, we know, is also out due to being injured in our last men's game, and he's facing apparently 4 to 6 weeks on the sideline. The last thing then that the team needed was for another forward to get injured.
But unfortunately, that is exactly what happened to us.
Yes, the bad news that we can share is that Kai Havertz picked up a hamstring injury during the team's warm weather training camp in Dubai, and it will require surgery, meaning that he is going to be out for the rest of the season.
That's terrible. Why didn't we buy someone during the transfer window?
Your guess, Maddie, is as good as mine, as we were already short, but with no Jesus, Saka, Martinelli or Havertz. Mikel Arteta started the game against Leicester at King Power Stadium with really our only fit forwards, Sterling, Trossard and Nwaneri all on the pitch. He mentioned in his press conference before the game that we will see what the team is made of, but personally, I wish it was made of more players at this point in time. But let's see how the next few games play out.
And the game started with the Gunners a bit flat.
Maybe all the cold and the rain was a little bit foreign after they'd spent 10 days or so in the Middle Eastern sun. But the opening half hour was very light on goalmouth action, with neither keeper really having much, if anything, to do. As the half drew to an end, we started to push the hosts a little bit more, but then we were lucky we didn't go behind just before the break, as they had a free header that David Raya and us fans thankfully saw drop just wide of the upright.
But in the second half, the game started to open up a bit.
It did. Ethan Nwaneri was the brightest spark in our attack, and after Odegaard played him in, his trademark left-footed shot hit the crossbar and just went over.
Then, with about 20 minutes remaining, Arteta brought on a new striker.
And when we say new, Maddie, we mean that he had not played in that position for us before. Originally signed as a left-sided midfielder, Mikel Merino was deployed up front for the Gunners, but it was Nwaneri again who went close to giving us the lead after lashing a shot, this time with his right foot, that thumped against the top of the upright. Not long later, though, Nwaneri was involved in the goal, swinging a cross in from that right-hand side straight onto the head of our new number 9, figuratively speaking, of course, as Mikel Merino was there to plant a header firmly into the net, a finish worthy of any good centre-forward, and it made the scoreline.
1-0 to Arsenal!
And then, as if to almost prove that his first goal was no fluke, and that this number 9 position could be his own for the rest of the season, which we might need it to be considering all the injuries we have, Merino got on the end of Trossard's low cross with his left foot, guiding the ball into the net, making the scoreline 2-0, and meaning that we have now gone 15 Premier League games without defeat, our longest unbeaten run since 2011.
And do you think this will be the plan for the team moving forward, Ben?
Maddie, honestly, I think the team really have no other choices due to all the injuries. It was good, however, though, to see Ben White on the bench for this game, meaning that he might not be that far away from some game time in the future. But I think the midweek break With the team only playing again on the weekend is a good time for Merino to hit the training ground and see if he can make that striker position his own, learning how to take up spaces and make the right runs to help the team out. I heard that Big Willie Saliba also put his hand up to play there if required, as apparently he used to play there as a junior, but personally, I think he's much better suited to our backline, which again kept the clean sheet away from home.
And next up for the team, Ben?
Well, Maddie, like I said, a game only on the weekend, and that's going to be at home to West Ham in the Premier League. And before we move on, I think we need to give a big shout out to Ethan Nwaneri, who was sensational in this game. The way he was able to relieve pressure with his dribbles and runs, and he was unlucky to not score, having hit the woodwork twice. As much as I want Saka to come back into this team, having Nwaneri here and doing so well is definitely a positive sign, and it means that we are not missing him quite so much.
I agree. It was a great game from Ethan. Okay, well, let's leave it there for part one. We'll be right back after this with part number 2. Welcome back, and Ben, North London is red.
Yes, Maddie, it most definitely is, and I think I saw a graphic somewhere that had the combined scorelines of the 4 Arsenal victories over Tottenham this season, with 2 in the Premier League and 2 in the Super League now. But this one was one of the best in front of over 56,000 fans at the Emirates Stadium, who erupted after just 14 minutes of playing time.
And it came after we had a number of early chances.
It was our press that brought about a mistake from the defence, with Kyra Cooney-Cross picking up the loose ball, putting it right into the path of Alessia Russo's head, who flicked it towards the goal, and it came off Tottenham and Australian defender Claire Hunt before nestling into the back of the net, making the scoreline
1-0 to Arsenal!
It was Mariona Caldente who scored on 34 minutes to make it 2-0. Her first shot from outside the box was blocked, but the ball fell kindly straight back into her path, and on the second attempt, she put it into the bottom right corner to make it 2-0.
And a good reminder to all players to make sure you keep pressing the following up on the loose balls.
It certainly is. A key part of the first half was the intensity of Arsenal's press that caused Tottenham all sorts of problems. And after the halftime break, we did not let up our attacking intent, as in the 51st minute, Caitlin Ford put a pass into Frida Mornham, who hit it first time, and it deflected off Claire Hunt again, looping up over the goalkeeper and into the net to make it 3-0, and then 3 became 4, as Caitlin Ford went on a charging run through the midfield from her own half on a scintillating counter-attack, before playing it out to Russo, who slotted the ball in off the post to the cheers of the Emirates crowd.
Then a cheer as loud when a goal went in, as Chloe Kelly came on her second Arsenal debut with about half an hour to play.
Yes, 2,815 days since her last game in red and white, all the way back in 2017. And Kelly was involved straight away with a good ball through to Russo, who had a shot deflected. There was also a cheer as Jenna Niswanger made her Emirates Stadium debut for the first time, coming on with about 5 minutes of the game to go.
But a first for Emily Fox, who scored an amazing goal to close out with what was a fantastic afternoon of ball.
Yes, in the 90th minute, Emily unleashed an absolute rocket into the top left corner to make it a 5th goal for the Gunners on the day. It was then almost 6 as Kelly had a shot hit the crossbar, but either way, it was more than enough to ensure North London remained red and to keep the crowd very happy.
And next up for the team, Ben.
Well, Maddie, the women's team head into an international break now, with pretty much all of our players heading out with their various national teams over the next 2 weeks as they take part in a whole lot more football. Let's hope for no injuries and good results for our players as they're set to return for a Super League clash with West Ham United at Meadow Park in a fortnight when they return.
And lastly, Ben, talking of debuts, you made yours for Ripley Valley Football Club. this past week.
Thank you, Maddie, for bringing that up. I'm still a bit sore from my first game in over 20 years as I played for the over 35 Masters team for the Rippers, as I'm getting back into football for the first time in a long time. But it was good and felt good to get out onto the pitch.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up for this episode. Thanks again for joining us, Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Before we sign off, we want to express our gratitude for your continued support. If you haven't already, please follow, like, and subscribe so you don't miss us in the future, because remember, your love for the beautiful game is what fuels our passion.
And we would love for you to join us on this adventure together.
Yes, please share our podcast with other Arsenal kids you know and help us to grow this amazing community together.
We hope to join you back at the pitch again soon.
Keep the spirit of the game alive, and until next time.
Goodbye.